The town of Salem, Indiana is under a boil water advisory yet again for brown discolored water. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Connie Leonard.
Seems to be an ongoing story over the years. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Profit. Brown water, not what you want to see when you want to brush your teeth. Now the taps are running clear in some homes. The advisory came 1 week after our focus team received reports of murky water. The brown water frustrating people for about 2 months in 2023 when our WHAS11 focus team did a series of reports. In 2024, the Salem City Council vetoed a plan to borrow $3.3 million to replace 10,000 feet of water lines south of Main Street.
Then the Water Task Force presented its findings in August of 2024, but the task force members feel their recommendations were ignored. So our Ian Hardwick talked to a father of 3 about his concerns.
While some Salem sinks run clear now, many looked brown over the past week. Here's one example in a photo given to WHAS11 by Megan Elgin. Zane Graves says water issues happen intermittently in the 5 years he's lived here.
I don't understand waiting until what I see, waiting until the last minute.
After the problem recently persisted for a week, the city issued a boil water advisory Tuesday.
We're washing our newborns' bottles with this water, as well as our 2-year-old daughters, like in all of our eating utensils. I mean, it's scary.
This is Lake John Hay, where Salem and surrounding towns get their water from. In the town of Salem's non-mandatory boil water advisory, they say high temperatures led to manganese leaching out into the water here, which may have caused some of that discoloration. And as you can see from this notice here, the lake was recently treated for odor and taste.
The town attorney also said the flushing of a water tower contributed to the discoloration and that the warning went out as soon as the city knew the source of the issue. Along South Main Street, the city is currently replacing 1,600 feet of main water lines. In Salem, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11 on your side.
And City Council President Dylan Moore told us today that millions of dollars in grants were secured for infrastructure upgrades.
Well, that includes the Main Street construction you just saw in our report and further investments into water treatment plants.
Well, LMPD is investigating a reported shooting that happened off 31st and Magnolia Avenue today. Officers from the 2nd Division responded to the scene around 3 o'clock this afternoon. An adult male was found inside a vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to the hospital and is expected to survive. LMPD's non-fatal shooting unit is investigating what led up to that shooting and a possible motive. Anyone with information is asked to call the anonymous tip line at 574 LMPD.
So you probably heard the rumble of thunder this morning, folks. That's a lot different than the worst. Usually we're on the air here this afternoon telling you about here it comes or it's already been drenching your neighborhood.
Yeah, and definitely hit my neighborhood this morning, Mallory, because it was wet out there.
Oh, yeah, lots of heavy rain, some gusty winds, lightning as well, but that is really limiting the extent of any kind of storm activity this afternoon. We have just a couple of very spotty showers or storms on the radar, pretty much riding right along the parkways here. So the Louisville metro areas off to the north all are dry in southern Indiana. As we take a live look outside from our First Savings Bank U of L health camera network there from over in Jeffersonville, seeing mostly to partly sunny skies and hotter temperatures as a result. That is the one thing that we're having to deal with today because temperatures are allowed to warm into the upper 80s and low 90s since we don't have those pop-up storms for the afternoon and evening. And that's also sending our feels like temperatures into the upper 90s and triple digits. It feels like 101 in Louisville at the airport. That is because of the combination of that temperature of 93 degrees and these dew points that are well into the 70s. We have some dew points in the mid to upper 70s. So very humid air out there, some tropical moisture that continues to surge into Kentuckiana. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now for your Wednesday evening, just holding that spotty shower or storm chance few and far between there. Tonight we could also track a couple of storms, but really we're looking at a better chance for those scattered storms, some of which could be strong with heavy rainfall and gusty winds looking to arrive again tomorrow afternoon and evening. We'll be talking much more about the storm chances throughout the week, this very active pattern that we're in. That's coming up later in our 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Mallory. And more on that heat she's talking about. Student athletes across Kentucky and I have resumed practices for the upcoming fall season. Today, JCPS sports leaders met with certified athletics trainers from U of L Health to discuss the steps being taken to keep students safe and healthy in these hot summer temperatures. Now, U of L Health athletic trainer Basha Furman stressed the importance of hydrating before, not during sports activities in extreme heat. Another point of discussion, knowing the wet bulb temperatures, which measure how well the body can actually cool itself outside. Those tools to measure student athletes are available before practice.
This is the wet bulb globe temperature. So this is the gold standard. KHSAA now requires everybody to use it, which is great. But about 30 minutes before any activity starts, you want to take the temperature in the center of the field, let it get out, sit out there for like 3 minutes, come out and check it.
And knowing the red flag signs of heat stroke is also vital to keeping kids safe during outside sports. Signs to look out for include a lack of sweat, dizziness, and overall disorientation.
We have an update for you. The schedule closure and maintenance for I-65 in downtown Louisville has now been postponed pending the weekend weather. The closure was supposed to allow crews to replace bridge joints on the portion known as Hospital Curve, designed to improve safety, prevent recurring potholes, and reduce the need for future maintenance closures. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet did not say when the closure of I-65 and the maintenance will be rescheduled.
Well, he calls himself a disruptor and the anti-Mitch McConnell. Today, we talk with the U.S. Senate candidate, Republican Nate Morris.
It's the Lexington businessman's first sit-down TV interview in Louisville, where he's been flooding the airways, as you know, with campaign ads. Isaiah Kim Martinez and our senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton talked to Morris in Middletown. And Isaiah, he's sort of what we call a hybrid. He's got a little bit in Lexington, a little bit in Louisville. So is he a native of Louisville?
Well, Doug, it's certainly where he spent a lot of his upbringing. It's where he went to high school. And after a serious injury playing football, it's where he discovered his love for politics, though he says one of his biggest points of pride is that he's not a career politician.
I got a chance to meet kids from West Louisville, East Louisville, South Louisville.
You may not know his name yet, but Lexington businessman Nate Morris knows Louisville, particularly Middletown. An Eastern High School grad, senior class president, and now running for U.S. Senate to replace Senator Mitch McConnell.
My classmates had had enough of career politicians back then, and I think that's no different now.
Morris has centered his campaign around two things: being a political outsider and moving away from everything McConnell represents.
The big reason why I'm running today is that for the last decade, Mitch McConnell has really let Kentucky down, let America down, and most importantly, let down President Trump.
Morris, who once interned for McConnell's office for 3 months, has been a harsh critic of the 83-year-old senator.
I haven't talked to him in years.
I'm Nate Morris, a Trump America First conservative, and I'm here to take out the trash.
This campaign ad shows Morris, who made his riches through his waste management company, tossing a cardboard cutout of McConnell in the back of a garbage truck. What was the moment or the decision he may have made where you felt it was politically advantageous to say, absolutely not, I'm going to be the one against him?
Look, I think it was very clear at the beginning of the year that when he started outwardly sabotaging President Trump's agenda, I said, this is absolutely ridiculous. Some of the worst things that have happened in the United States have occurred under his tenure, whether it be the Iraq War, the financial crisis of 2008, all the immigration crisis that we've had, the open borders, and most recently the war in the Ukraine.
One of Morris's big policy priorities is putting all immigration into the U.S. on pause until every undocumented migrant who came to the country during President Biden's term are deported.
This is what America voted for, Isaiah, when they elected President Trump. And this is what they voted for in the big, beautiful bill, the funding for ICE that allows this to happen. So look, I stand by that position, and that's the right thing for the country.
Now, later tonight, we'll talk about Morris's recent conversation with President Donald Trump. Has he asked for Trump's endorsement in this race? That's coming up tonight at 6. Connie, Doug.
All right, Isaiah, thank you so much for that. Kentucky Congressman Andy Barr and former Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron are the other Republicans in this race.
Also, Kentucky State Representative Pamela Stevenson, retired U.S. Air Force of Louisville, is the only Democrat running so far. Right now, here tonight at 5, it is the bridge you certainly love to hate in Louisville, but it also works overtime as a toll-free bridge. And today, representatives from Jeffersonville, Clarksville, and New Albany, including Louisville, meeting to discuss the safety of the 2nd Street Bridge. That bridge, as you know, is close to turning 100 years old. It carries a lot of traffic. The representative for the district in southern Indiana, Wendy Chesser, was there to hear concerns from people who take the bridge often. This meeting starting at 3:30 this afternoon. Safety has been top of mind since that semi-crash left a driver hanging over the Ohio River. She, of course, was rescued by the Louisville Fire Department. Since then, speed over the bridge has been a big discussion. Many drivers saying people go way too fast on the narrow bridge.
It's definitely something to follow up on, and it could be as simple as a phone call to get to, you know, what is having a patrol out there look like, even if he or she doesn't stop anybody. If I see a police car in front of me, I tend to not ride his bumper, usually.
Dan Chesser also hearing concerns about larger vehicles on the bridge. The lanes are 10 feet wide, more narrow than the other toll bridge. And an average semi is about 8 feet wide, giving only about 1 foot of space on either side. It is tight. She said she would look into the possibility of directing larger vehicles to another route. Stay with us. WHAS 11's Alex Dieterer has a live report from that meeting coming up tonight at 6.
Joseph Lawson has filed a motion for a new trial after a jury convicted him of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence earlier this month, recommending he serve 25 years in prison. Lawson was tried, of course, alongside Crystal Rogers' former boyfriend, Brooks Houck, who was also convicted of Crystal's murder and tampering with physical evidence. In his motion, Lawson's defense team cited his denied request to be tried separately from Houck, his inability to strike jurors who were familiar with the recent conviction of his father, Steve Lawson, along with a lack of sufficient evidence. He says these things contributed to an unfair trial. As of right now, Joseph Lawson is set to be sentenced alongside Brooks Houck August 21st at 1 p.m.
Meantime, court documents from the Houck and Lawson trials have been unsealed. They're revealing new details about a possible motive for the death of Crystal Rogers and allege that Brooks Houck did not want to pay child support or share custody of his child with Crystal, that being the possible motive. It also highlights the involvement from his mother, Rosemary Houck, who witnesses claimed was asking around for someone who could get rid of Crystal and had a burner phone herself for weeks. Witnesses claiming that Rosemary was happy about Crystal's disappearance and was overheard saying with her gone, the child could be raised right. Documents also revealing Rosemary met with an attorney 1 month after Crystal's disappearance, which was recorded, the meeting was, but it's unclear what was discussed.